far, in addition to what was intercepted, we have intercepted 7 additional firearms and 69 rounds of ammunition from the hand of suspected criminals. So we have 42 at the port and 7 doing our own local investigations on island. So that brings it to 49 firearms and 289 rounds of ammunition have been removed from the hands of criminals. Those weapons couldn't find themselves pointed at anybody in the state, and they're no longer available to criminals to use to commit those unlawful acts. These seizures have led to the arrest of 21 individuals for possession of firearms and trafficking of firearms. Of these 21 individuals, 7 people have been convicted, and fined at the court, while the other matters are pending trial at the court. So 7 individuals have been convicted out of these matters, out of the 21. Sometime earlier this year, I warned that the police will go all out to ensure that we rid the streets of illegal firearms. You will have noticed for the past 2 weeks or thereabouts that we've ramped up our operations on the streets and doing house searches, among others. These operations will continue to ensure that we can rid the streets of illegal firearms. Our mandate continues. And I wish again to warn these people who may be in possession of firearms without a license. Take my warning seriously. We ask you to surrender those firearms to the police, to a priest, or somebody that you have confidence in, that you hand it over to the police. Do not keep the firearms at your home, because we'll be coming, we'll be searching. And by now you should realize it could be anywhere we'll come for it. No exceptions. We'll be searching, breaking down doors if we have to ensure that we rid the streets of illegal firearms. So I call upon every citizen of Dominica to support the police in that regard. If you know of a firearm, someone who has a firearm, please report it to the police. You must have an officer that you can speak with in confidence to report it to the police. The firearms I speak of, the 42 firearms, and the 7 firearms, 49 in all, it did not come from thin air. It's because of the confidence in the police that have led to most of those firearms being removed from the hands of criminals. So there are officers, of course, that you can trust, that you can confide in to ensure that those weapons do not find themselves on the streets of Dominica. And we've seen in recent time what happens when these firearms get into the hands of those criminals. They're not afraid of using it. Please assist us, and if you are in possession of a firearm, as I said, surrender the firearm to the police so you can get it off the streets of Dominica. In closing, you can report these firearms to Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIPS or 1-800-8477. And as I indicated before, to any trusted individual or police that you have confidence in. We understand it's not a case of theft or battery. When you speak of firearms, people are very reprehensive. However, as I indicated before, there must be an officer that you can confide in, that you can call, like other citizens have done, to assist us in getting rid of the streets of those firearms. And as I said before, one firearm in the hand of a criminal is one firearm too many. Because you never know. You just never know who that firearm might be pointed at tomorrow. It may very be you. So do not hide and say, well, it's not me. It can be you tomorrow. I also call upon the parents who are aware that their children are harboring those firearms, that they have those firearms on the premises. Ask them to surrender the firearms to the police. Ask them to surrender to the police, to give it up. Because when we come, a lot of times people are not very happy. But we have to do what we have to do. And if it means that we'll take down the front door or the back door or the side of a house, we have to do it. But to prevent that from happening, please surrender the firearms. Do not get yourself involved in trafficking in firearms or being in possession of firearms without a valid license. So that's my warning and my call, that we will continue our operations and we won't rest until we are safe and we're sure and satisfied that we've done the best that we can to rid the streets of the firearms. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you have been warned and encouraged by the Chief of Police that you should report illegal firearms that may be in our community or among us. So if you see something, say something. So you have been warned. So do as the chief said. Illegal firearm is not bread, it's not cake. It is illegal and is intended for nefarious use by suspected criminals or persons. So if you see something about firearms, say something. Let us get the illegal firearms out of the streets and in Dominica, out of Dominica in general, hands of criminals and suspected persons. Before we continue, let me call on the Honorable Minister of National Security to address us, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me recognize the Commissioner of Police acting, Mr. Corbett, and of course, the Deputy Commissioner of Police gazetted officers to my right. And in my immediate view, all the police officers and members of the media fraternity, and those of you who may be viewing and listening, good morning to you. I want to begin firstly, Chief, by commending the brave men and women of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force and the Dominica Customs and Excise Department. The work that you do in defense of this beautiful country is beyond tremendous. And therefore, no salary is enough to pay you for that work that you're doing. And I want you to know that the minister, the prime minister, the cabinet of ministers of this country, government, and people of Dominica in the main understand the difficult task that you have before you and appreciate the work that you do on behalf of us, the people of this country. Let us put our hands together for the men and women of the police force and the customs and excise. You're the one on the front line, and you're the one doing the work on behalf of the state. I want to take this opportunity to just remind us that, notwithstanding what you heard from the Commissioner of Police this morning, and certainly we have a challenge with illegal firearms. And certainly there's a syndicate, and the origin of which we are committed to dismantle. Working in concert with regional and international law enforcement agencies, we shall continue to do that. And the interception that you have seen in the recent past, where 42 firearms have been actually intercepted at our ports of entry, demonstrate that the processes and systems that we have put in place are working. The coordination that we have been able to do with our regional and international law enforcement agencies is working. The cooperation that we have been able to forge with our regional and international law enforcement agencies is working. The intelligence that we have been able to cultivate is also very effective. And therefore, what we have done in order to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place to intercept illegal firearms coming to the country and components of firearms coming to the country, we were able to invest $2.7 million in order to actually procure scanners, which are now installed at all of our ports of entry, including the one at Longhouse in Portsmouth, to ensure that we have the infrastructure and the personnel so to do. We have been working in concert with our regional and international players to provide training to our law enforcement officers in tracing of illegal firearms. We have put an infrastructure in place. You heard the Commissioner of Police made reference to that mechanism, namely comprising officers with the talent from the Financial Intelligence Unit and the Custom and Excise Duty and the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, which is activated once illegal firearms or component parts are intercepted out of ports of entry. Because we have to dismantle the trafficking syndicate. And therefore, we have to not only get the firearms and the component parts, but we have to be able to trace the origin. So far, we have had some element of success working with our international players to actually ensure that one of the major players from the point of origin have been convicted at a court and externally. And that for us is significant because we are committed in the dismantling of that syndicate. Certainly, there's evidence of some element of trafficking in illegal firearms taking place. But these firearms, if one or two were to stay in Dominica, or even if they were to go externally, each of these firearms could have been used for a number of murders. And we're happy that we have been able, working with the customs, working with our regional and international players to intercept those firearms, and we'll continue to do that. So, thus going back to the investment we have made, where we provided $2.7 million, which demonstrates and manifests clearly that the system is working. Where did you get that money from? And I want to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to commend the men and women of the Financial Intelligence Unit who have been doing a very good job on behalf of the state and the region. And every meeting that I go to, they are being commended for the tremendous work that they're doing. Today, I want the senior investigating officer who is representing Mr. Farrell to take a bow for the tremendous work you have been doing. Thank you, sir, for your service to this country. As a consequence, we're able to get $2.7 million from the asset forfeiture fund and to procure those scanners, which are being effective right now in detecting those illegal firearms. These monies were actually forfeited by the court and transmitted into this account, and that money has been used to fight the crooks and criminals and those who, I don't care. I will stand for this country and fight against crime, whether I'm a police, whether I was a police officer, as the Minister for National Security, and when I demit office as Minister of National Security. The country belongs to us, and I will always stand in defense of this country. I will always stand with our law enforcement. I don't really care who say anything about me as to my stand. This country belongs to all of us, and you have to get to a point where you have people who are brave enough to stand for this country and say that this illegal firearms culture should not stand in our country, and we have to deal with it and dismantle every infrastructure that is involved in that. I really don't care. What I'm concerned about is this country is a peaceful country. The other elements of crime in this country are the lowest we have seen in the history of this country. We have a responsibility. It's not about politics. It's not about our religious persuasion. It's about we being bona fide Dominicans and putting politics aside and to deal with something, to deal with a phenomenon, if not dealt with, can emerge into a pathological nightmare. And we will not be Christian. Your government is committed, therefore, to providing these law enforcement agencies or these police and the customs with all the tools that they need to fight this thing. So we will continue, as I said, to provide the assistance. We have also upgraded our border security network at our ports. We're able now to read all kind of traveling documents. Ms. Powell is there. We're able to take your fingerprints upon secondary inspection. We're able to actually monitor people's movement, the travel, and to cultivate a watch list and to help us in fighting, because it's a holistic approach we have to take. And for those of you who are listening, most times there are things that we cannot see. Issues concerning national security, issues concerning illegal firearms that have been intercepted, because that can actually interfere with the investigation of this matter. So again, on behalf of the government, I want to express my gratitude to the law enforcement agencies within Dominica and all our supporters, regionally and internationally, working with us and to ensure that we deal with this matter. And of course, because of the origin of those firearms, they will try to come from our bona fide ports of entry. So we have two concerns there. Those that are coming by the back door and those that are coming from our bona fide ports of entry. We are also making some investments, working in concert again with our international players to further fortify our borders, the details of which I cannot get into, that will allow us, the police, working with the customs, to better monitor our borders, our seas, and our bays. We will ensure in due time that we have the Coast Guard located in several localities within the country so that they can give adequate, because it's very difficult. We have a number of natural beaches around the country, surrounded by sea. But Commissioner, I want to commend you for your work so far, and the police, the Deputy Commissioner of Police. I'm seeing additional patrols on the street. I'm feeling a little happier. And the Dominican public certainly feeling a little happier. We have to continue to move with greater speed on the issue of community policing. I see Mr. Andrews there, because the people in Casa Comfort, Girardel, in the Wallhouses, Kenfield East, and Santa Roma, and Emsal need some police presence also, and need to be organized into forming what they call neighbor watch groups, and to continue to that national effort of getting officers in the districts, in the stations, to patrol the streets, and with the additional 59 police officers, and to also pay attention to the gardens, and to have police presence there as a staple item on our beaches and at our hospitals. We need to ensure that our police officers are all about, okay, my final pledge here to the public is to support the police. You heard the Commissioner of Police made reference to they're up in the game to go after the illegal firearms and to rid the streets of illegal firearms. Commissioner of Police and Deputy Commissioner of Police, do what you have to do. Do what you have to do to get those guns. Do what you have to do to get those guns. Operate within the ambit of the law. Use reasonable force. And reasonable force, therefore, can be measured based on the circumstances. When the police come looking for firearms, a firearm can kill a person. They have to come so equipped. It is therefore for you to surrender the guns. And those nuisances who are obstructing the police, behave yourself. Behave yourself. We'll talk, we're not seeing the police. Drive-by shooting. When the police are trying to protect you, you're obstructing the police. Those of us with children who come home with bikes and expensive Nikes and stuff like that, not working anywhere, ask them where they're getting the money from. The onus is on us to do what we have to take. The churches, the schools, all those professional fraternities, silent on matters of significance and loud on other matters of politics. You have a role to play. So also, you're not playing that role for Honorable Lescott or Ellen Blackmore. You're playing a role for yourself. So stop obstructing the police when the police are doing the work and surrender the guns. We had a recent gun amnesty program, and I heard some saying about, or they heard the Commissioner of Police then say that if the whole you're doing an amnesty program with gun, they will still charge you. Sapa volumes, as a Monty at the time. Look at Monty talk. Huh? The program was meant to allow us with illegal firearms to bring them into the police without fear of being prosecuted. You made a rational decision to keep your firearms. So you must feel the full brunt of the law when you're caught with illegal firearms. I'm calling everyone, including the courts, to take a serious view of this matter emerging. And as I close, we would like to talk about the laws and laws. Ladies and gentlemen, the laws concerning illegal firearms in this country are very stringent. As we speak, we're looking at laws again to further strengthen them. Let me just give you a reference, therefore, as I end. The penalty for the trafficking of illegal firearms carries a sentence of 25 years imprisonment or a fine of $700,000. That is the penalty spelled out in law. I cannot sit on the bench, neither the Prime Minister. So it's for all of us to play a part and to have an appreciation of the magnitude of this matter. So thank you very much, Chief. Thank you very much to our brave custom officers. And thank you very much to those of you who have been actively cooperating with the police. Work with the police and stop obstructing the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouragement and your word of advice. But let me implore on the public, if you see something, say something about illegal firearms. You see something, say something. Don't hold it to your own. It is for our betterment that we rid the streets out of illegal firearms. Before we call on the next step of this program is the show of the firearms, the illegal firearms that we have intercepted. So far, the media can now have a look and take a peek of it. They are there on display. And be well. After the question and answers, you will. And question after. Okay, very well. So after the look, one have the question. Curtis.
And
No, I was asking why don't you do questions now? First question is, the doctor is
Carla, come and take your pick, Carla. I suppose by now everyone is satisfied. Carla, you satisfied now? Now that everyone is satisfied, the picks and etc. were taken, we now move on to the segment of questions. Yeah, you could stay where you are and ask the question, or you could come with your problem.
How effective you have to communicate policy really, and was that work? This issue for the miserable, and how do you do the problems, and you their assistance, you could be crime to non-able. And second, is the need for another ministry. That was very good. I want to give you a question on the question
and another one has to do with amnesty. The last one will be to deal with. One issue of community policing is in Europe and in anyway that we're going to be going. And we're seeing it based on fruits. Albeit, as Minister indicated earlier, we need to have a greater trust, make sure that we can have it cemented right through the island. But yes, it is based on fruits. And you'll be seeing officers a little more in the community. For example, last week, Wednesday, was it? We were at Wesley, meeting the family groups. We have a particular issue in Wesley of quote-unquote pretty lasting and the theft of what farmers produce. And we had a very successful meeting then. All in the effort of ensuring that we can kill crime, reduce crime. So we are much more in honestly a great impact. When you from Granby, Mr. Jacob, we have a very well established one in Granby and working very, very well. What the question of honesty, I said, I really convinced. Well, why I'm here? Why don't we what about in our business and executing our searches on the race? I just need to send a strong, very strong warning. Very strong warning out there because this is not a joke. Some people believe that against the only one and the only one. But a strong warning that if you raise a fire at the police during one of the searches, during one of our raids, if you make a mistake and raise a dead weapon after the police, of course, if you make a mistake, and you raise a weapon against one of our officers, you can make a mistake a second time. I'm going to say straight up about read between the lines. You won't make a mistake a second time. You will suffer dire consequences in the house. So this is to say, because we understand what it is. We're forward on firearms in order in class. And the minister said that we must consider it. But you really don't want to police. That's what I'm saying.
You still there. I just want to ask that question since you are here. We know a lot of emphasis has been placed on the FIU and the customs and so on. In terms of the drug squad and the task force workers, they too are playing a pivotal role in terms of the sentiments being expressed. Are you in due time going to further reward them because they too would be part of the entire exercise? Can you speak on that, please, sir?
Reward. What you're going to know, Mr. John Baptist, is that the task force would have been merged as one unit, as the anti-crime task force, and without spelling out exactly what the rewards are with respect to you, they've been taking care of hands-on. That's why they work day in, day out, without any complaints. None whatsoever. So they have been taken care of properly. Again, I will take it up from the minister. It's insisted on the minister. Certain things have been done. Whereby the task force, the Coast Guard, we have mentioned this morning, the Coast Guard, the SSU, is one unit, one team, one police force. Those officers working those units have been taken care of properly. That's why we have no complaints, no sick reports, nobody dodging duties when they call out. And as I said, it's not easy work, it's hard work. So, rest assured, Mr. John Baptist, that they're okay. They're right. They're okay. For the question of the amnesty, I said I'll leave it for the minister to answer. Thank you.
The speaker of the Victoria Management. Also say further, yes, on the issue as to whether we're going to have a second. One on the program. I think that's okay. The much stress that the government is doing that is serious about the elimination of illegal firearms. We had the first one in 2007, and not many people actually make illegal firearms.
we made a rational decision, keep the fire. What we did was to repeal and give a new fire ban with more stringent penalties. The intention of Parliament, therefore, was spelled out that anyone thereafter found with illegal firearms should be dealt with very seriously by the court. We had a second one again. It happened at the time before I moved across the public works. I was in this there. We had a recent one and a few people bought illegal firearms. But what is cool is that it demonstrated that the government want to give you a second chance. So what the government, law enforcement agencies are going out now to really shoot illegal firearms, I don't think it's fair to blame the government. Because we now sit there and allow this matter to escalate. Let me just say that all the aspects of serious crimes that I said in my initial comment this morning are on a historic low. The figures are removed. Last year, 147, as opposed to an average of 1,005 in the early 90s. The only thing at that point, rape down. Serious theft, indictable offenses under the Theft Act, down. Theft on some matters, these are the matters tried by the magistrate court, and petty theft, down. You know what I'm saying? So we have some good stories to be told, but we have to address, and it's not a Dominican affair. It's a global, original global phenomenon. It's a fire illegal firearms is concerned. Certainly, you have evidence of trafficking in illegal firearms. That is in reference to the stringent penalty stipulated in the law. But in terms of community policing, I believe that is something we heard from the Prime Minister at the passing up parade, again reinforcing government intention and policy. We have to the police, we everything they asked for to go forward with community policing, including the people, including the plan with strategies. We in recent times had a number of meetings led by the ministry where we met with a number of young people. Because you have to engage young people. And then we develop action groups with major players for the communities of Grammy, FSP, Darby Street, leaders within the community, including young people. And then have brought up community meetings. That should has been replaced in the various other parts of the world, like communities listed. At the same time, because we have to deal it from an affirmative action perspective, not only from a law enforcement perspective, but how can we empower our young men and women? And the way of employment, yes. What we have done in education in this country and provided opportunities for our young people, irrespective of the gender. The university access to secondary school universal, college universal. Not everybody working client academics. That is why we now, if you drive around the good area where they put the secondary schools and you see this remarkable building being constructed. It's meant to be a center of excellence, where various vocational skills can be taught in plumbing. You want to be an electrician, you want to be a carpenter, you want to be a mechanic, you want to learn all this fridge. So we provide opportunities for young people. And within our small business unit, money has been provided for people with business initiative to empower people. So I'm saying that we're doing all those things there. Going into the communities and seeing what the issues are, what the problems are in this community. And yes, we have to try to also engage our young people and to find out as to what it is causing you to be in that situation. And then we have to point the fingers at the guys who sit all on their couch with the box of us while watching cartoons and playing video games, while the young men are out there working on their behalf. Selling drugs on the ground, going in open waters, and getting themselves involved while they're there looking at dogs. You know,
on the country. And are using our young men as news. You see, I'm a real guy. Let us be honest. We know some of us know what the situation is, and then we might feel that they're the wrong people. But we have to face this in front of them. Yet, the vulnerable group are young men. Insofar as this legal doctrine and firearms is concerned. I want to go ahead and short. It's a such thing that mother has a mother, a sister, there are seven who's been the election person are families. That's families, you can have So it's a stack of others. That is not to the benefit of society that we have to confront. But it cannot be confronted only from a law enforcement perspective. We need to have the entire agents of socialization working together, listen, to help develop that young mind into something, an individual with a wholesome outlook of his role in society. And that is, I feel, that is where our kind of folks who call themselves social scientists only to make political statements. And I'm looking at real social phenomena, social facts that are impacting people's social behavior and dispositions. So those are the things I believe that we have to look at from our perspective. But we are talking this morning about a matter that have been confronted also from a law enforcement perspective. So let's take a point. I'm looking at the legal police and Christian and further. And we shall be engaging consultant of the commission, Mr. Alvarez is would like to take and to ensure that the whole country is on board. You can see the young men are talent. They can play music, some of them. They can do things. That's how I send go on the line. All the things they can do. But some of them are very well. Even at home like they can now. I don't think I'm a musical man, I'm not good at that. For me, it's not. I don't know. They're back then. So to just for that family contributing into a livelihood. And so I have been those kind of things that we continue to that family.
So you're right. As you were there, yes, I know. Really, you spoke about the issue about guns, etc., etc. And during last week, you were at the state prison where you spoke about scanners at the state prison. As we speak, a prison officer has been arrested and is before the court. What sort of message would you want to send? It's almost like in hindsight, what sort of message do you want to send to even prison officers who seem to be bent on doing or engaging in illegal activities, as we have this whole issue of guns, etc.? What sort of message would you want to send out to them?
And to say to you also, in the mail, Mr. Edmund is Madam of Republicans. Being a prison officer anywhere in the world, it's stressful and difficult job. I've been to prisons in region. I sort of turned in those places. I went to my Dominican. It's not put this all of this. Went to the biggest fire prison in America. Yes, I'm saying. I know prison operate. And it's a challenge everywhere. So I'm saying that we should have used one is innocent until people guilty. What I'm saying is that we will continue on back the processes that are present. The intent of actual prison is right now to come in modern So we can start. I will do some make some comments after my comment down. We want to to say that the wonderful thing that we need to do it. So far as trying to rehabilitate the lives. So we can encouragement, and that was asked of me, and because I made a response. In trying time, the Prime Minister has made others to improve and our hard work. What is every in the prison system in the world and scanners. You should be very proud of that. It's not saying that the prison must say sentence. Everyone. The question is, how do we get to a point of identifying the malnourished? If they are, I'm also that he is, and that's a honestly innocent and guilty. They are not safe. And therefore, we see certain place to ensure that the prison operates at the prison where people who are sentenced that they are set by the state. And they do not enter into the life of other orders. And the officers who are there are officers of high caliber. So we system in prison, the recruiting system, we are government police. This one in our program, the shows on our behalf. Also important is to know different other officers, but we're going to ensure how much is required to self-standing. The officers will and charge their functions or our So that's what we can do. That's because we can do, and we should be doing more of those things going forward. All right? That's all. If you have another question, please find it in the question. My comment, first request.
Okay, one. Mentioned that while I was out, but give right now, I know investigations are as well ongoing. Do you believe that any of these firearms are connected to any recent crimes?
Well, look at the question. The language is what the question. And now I say that investigators are going, and look at the reference to that. Like I said, the officer is working together with a regular national party. Upon a good example. I did refer to the point that we are able to have a very successful conviction of various supply, very international.
Mr. Minister, this initiatives in national security of our borders places stress on our CBI program. Is there assistance, or are we receiving assistance from external partners? I said this initiatives at ensuring the security on our borders places stress on our CBI. Because there's a cost for it. Are we receiving assistance from external partners, or is it borne or by or Dominica?
We have a very open there's a reference to the fact that we don't upgrade our security, our border security, and our borders. Right? The law was to be open up documents showing the police, or it would be done. Right? So we are managing all our programs insofar as our nationals are concerned in a transparent manner. And as I heard from the Prime Minister, there's room for improvement, and we have been working with our international and regional players to ensure that we further perfect the processes involved. And yeah. Thank you. Okay. That being so, no more questions. Thank you very much, folks. God bless you guys. And we'll continue to update the press as time progresses. Good job, our police officers and our custom officers put on together. That brings the press conference. Thank you.
Well, that was one.